Good. So let's start sitting. I'm going to sit elevated a little bit. You're welcome to also do that or not. Just on a blanket. Yeah. And then let's have your blocks handy, just available. And we'll sit, I'll be really specific about it, with the right shin in front of the left shin. And the legs crossed right about at the middle of the shins, as opposed to this other one where we're kind of crossed at the ankles. Yeah. And then from there, if you're finding that the legs are up really high, you might want to sit higher and or put the blocks under the legs. Yeah. So as you set up here, let's just take a little bit of a wobble, just a little back and forth. And see if you can feel the little bony protrusions at the base of the pelvis, little tuberosities. And then let your movement start to quiet down and try to find yourself evenly weighted between the two, or as close to even as you got. Yeah. And then from here, let's slide the thumbs up to the hip creases and give a little push down with the hands and lengthen along through the spine, through the crown of the head. Yeah, and then the area right underneath your thumbs, the musculature there, just see if you can kind of get really grippy for a second, and then let that relax, let that be soft. Yeah, so we want to keep that soft. As we gently push the thumbs back, angle the torso forward, and then keep that soft as you take the blocks forward, and let's just kind of come out on that diagonal as forward as you can go without rounding. Yeah. And then this would be a pretty active position here. Press the hands straight down onto the blocks. And without moving the blocks, try to pull the blocks back towards you as the collarbones draw forward. Exactly. All right, friends. And then from your position here, let's come back up to center. We'll change the way the legs are crossed. Got the other one in front. And then take that same little wobble. This is my second favorite side. And then we'll slide the thumbs again into the hip creases. Press down to lift up. And try to keep the musculature under the thumbs relaxed as we draw back to angle forward. Yeah. Same thing as before. Let's find our blocks and start to walk them out. Keeping the torso lengthened and lifted without coming down. Yeah, press the hands straight down on the blocks and try to draw the blocks back without actually moving them. And move the chest forward, broaden through the collarbones. Yeah. Good. All right, and then let's reset, coming back to center. And we'll just sit for a moment here. So if it feels okay to close the eyes, do that. If that doesn't feel so good, you can keep the eyes open, but just try to relax the muscles in your face. And take a few even breaths. Just take a little notice of the sounds around you. And here in this room, we've got some loud music downstairs. You might hear some traffic outside. See if you can tune in to yourself, your own body's rhythm, in the midst of anything else that might be going on. In honor of that, let's take hands to heart center. Very gently let the head bow down and allow the eyes to blink open. And we'll return the head back to center. Yeah. Let's take the hands down to the thighs or to the knees. Let the back round, let the head drop. And then as we inhale, we'll pull forward, find a little lift through the chest. Take that a few times. So seated version here of our cat-cow. You inhale back. Inhale on the forward. Exhale on the back. Great. And then the next time we come just kind of right back into middle, let's stay. Hook the thumbs here kind of like a butterfly and pull up through the arms. And as we pull up through the arms, try to lift the rib cage up off of the pelvis. Keep that, but relax through the shoulders, relax through the neck. Yeah. And then from here, friends, let's take the arms apart, turn the palms outward, and press out into the air, imagining that it's really, really thick as we come down. Great. Once the arms release back down, let's stretch the legs out in front and just create a little bit of movement, anything at all in the feet, the toes, the ankles. Exactly. Yeah, so from here we'll turn over, meeting in the all fours position, hands and knees. And if you need padding for the knees, by all means you can set that up, set up your blanket. And then we did a seated version of cat-cow. Let's do the classic version here. So we'll breathe in. And then on the exhale, press into the mat, let the back round, the head will drop, the tailbone will drop. Inhale will come the other direction. Can you glide the shoulder blades down the back? Exhale will round. And inhale will extend the spine, drawing the chest a little forward. Take that one a few more times. And then from here, friends, let's pause. Take the knees a little bit wider apart than they are and shift back into child's pose. Yeah, if coming all the way back doesn't feel so good, just do partial. And without moving your hands, push the mat down and forward so the hips draw back a little bit. If it feels all right to give yourself a wobble side to side, add in that little extra movement here. Yeah, so we'll keep the knees this wide apart. Let's return to our hands and knees position and slide the left hand just a bit forward, but also a little bit to the right, so it's in the center of the mat. As we inhale, let's turn the chest right, but keep the elbow a little bit bent. And then on the exhale, we'll scoop the right arm underneath, bend the left elbow, and hover. So taking that a few times, we'll inhale, turn open. See if you can do the twist from the core of the body rather than from the arm. That's it. And then on the exhale, we'll scoop through. So taking that a few more times. The inhale is the open, and the exhale is the close. Yeah. And then the next time we come underneath, we'll stay down there. So the arm will scoop underneath. Very gently press the back of the right arm down into the floor. And if it feels all right to let the pelvis shift a teensy bit to the right, you might add that in. Yep. And then let's press the left hand into the floor. Return yourself to center. Keep the knees kind of wide and take a few rounds more of our cat-cows. Yeah. So a lot of times when we do this twist in particular, the arm has a tendency just to pull us. Instead, see if you can move from the center of the body, and we'll let the arm just be an accessory. Yeah, so let's take that a few times. The inhale, we turn open, find that little lift, turn from the center of the body. And then the exhale, we'll pull through. Yeah, a couple more times, just like this on the second side. On the other side. And then the next time you come underneath, you'll stay just like that. That's it. Press the back of the arm gently down, straight into the floor. And if it feels all right to shift the pelvis a little bit over to the right, go ahead and add that in. Yeah. Good. To get out, let's press the right hand into the floor. Reset yourself, hands under the shoulders, knees right underneath the hips. And now we'll take a few side bends. So let's let the rib cage glide over to the right, the head will turn a little left, and then we go the other direction. Ribs go to the left, head to the right. Take that a few more times, just at whatever is your pace. Yeah. And then one more thing from this shape. Let's pause in the center. Stretch the right leg back and just give yourself a little push-pull. A little stretch in the calf, Achilles. And then we'll pause here, turn the heel to the floor, turn the chest to the right. Lift up the right arm and give the wrist a little circle. Yeah. And then we'll stay here. Plant the right foot firmly into the floor and take the right arm forward, just overhead, fingers towards the front of the room. That's it. Down comes the arm. Down comes the knee. Let's go straight into side two. Left leg reaches back, little push-pull back and forth with the movement. Yeah, and then from here we'll pause. Turn the chest to the left heel down, left arm up. Add in that little stir. Yeah, and then we'll keep the left foot firmly planted into the floor. Take the left arm overhead on the diagonal. Yeah, and that's that. Release the arm. Come back into child's pose, and let's go onto your fingertips here. Little spider fingers. Give the mat a bit of a scratch with your hands. Great. And then let's relax the hands. Forearms to the floor. Turn the palms to face up, and give the fingers a little curl in and out a couple of times. Yeah. Great. And then from here, friends, let's reset the hands. Coming into downward facing dog, we'll lift up a little bit, tuck the toes under, and just hover the knees off the floor for a second. So we'll stay kind of bent. And then try to press the mat down and forward with the hands. Send your hips back and up. And very slowly start to stretch the legs a little straighter. And for this first down dog, for most of us, it'll feel a little tight. If you'd like to add in some movement here, you can pedal the legs. You can turn your hips from side to side. Take really anything that your body's asking for. Yeah. And then we'll pause here. Let's step the feet a bit wider, about as wide as the mat. Bend the knees again. Press the mat down and forward so the hips shift back. And at the very, very tops of the thighs, press wide. Counter that in your feet. Hug in a little through the ankles. You got it. And then re-lengthen the legs here for this wide version of downward dog. Good. We'll bend the knees again. Walk the hands back until the heels land on the floor. Forearms come up onto the thighs, and we'll pause in this little squat position. Circle out the wrists, wiggle out the fingers. Just take a bit of movement here. Yeah, and then before we come up, can you shift your weight? So it's more in the heels than in the toes. Press down into that part of the foot. And on the inhale, we come out and up with the arms. Exhale, the arms release. Yeah, and then we'll step the feet, not together, just a little closer than they were. And circle out the hips a couple of times. Oops. Great. And then let's go the other direction with that. Pause here. And we'll separate the feet again, about as wide as they were a second ago. Take the right arm, and let's do a little slice, kind of out and up on the diagonal. You can lift the right heel and look over the left shoulder. Good. And then the right arm comes down, and we'll slice the other side, reach out and up. Yeah, take that one more time on each direction. So out and up we come. And then other side, out and up we come. Great, release that. Coming back to center. Reset the feet so they're, again, just right underneath you. I'm going to move this out of the way. All right. And then from here, friends, we'll create a little more movement through the body. Feet can be together if you like. I'm going to keep the hips with distance apart. Slight bend in the knees. Press the very tops of the thighs back. Press down into the heels. And then on the inhale, re-lengthen the legs, lift the arms. Exhale, down we go, forward fold, bend the knees as much as you like. Come up halfway, move the chest forward. Lower yourself down, hands to the floor. Let's go to plank pose, and if you're not up for plank right now, you can do hands and knees or plank on the knees. Can everybody broaden the collarbones? Can you lift a little through the low belly, and lift a little right at the very tops of the thighs? Yeah, stay here, tiny bend in both knees, tiny bend in both elbows, and turn the tips of the elbows back towards the back of the mat. Yeah. From here, very, very lightly, set the knees down. We'll come down to the belly, or instead, if you're coming to child's pose, do that. Yeah. And then from your position here, on the inhale, let's peel up into cobra or something like it. And then on the exhale, bring yourself back down. Do that a few more times. So the inhale is a forward and an up. And the exhale is back down. Nice job. Let's do it one more time. And the next time we come down, actually next time we come up, yeah, we'll press back into downward facing dog pose. Take your time to get there. Nice work, everybody. From your downward dog, let's come to the front of the mat here, feet to the hands. Halfway lift, hands to the shins. Just come up halfway, broaden the collarbones, and then let's lower down, bend the knees on the way down, and do that a few more times. Inhale, we lengthen to lift, and exhale, let it go. One more time here. Stay in the position, hands to the hips, bend the knees a little and press outward through the thighs. Tone through the core and then hinge your way up to center, back to stand. Nice job. Let's release the arms and just circle it out a little bit again. Yeah, other direction. Yeah, so anytime I'll cue down on the belly, I'm not going to do it, but feel free to do either the version I'm doing or go onto the belly. Yeah. All right, guys. So from the front of the mat, this next sequence, you might want to have blocks. If you've got them, just slide them to the front of the mat. Yeah. And then from here, let's reset, slight little bend in the knees. Shift your weight more towards the heels, and then on the inhale, re-lengthen, arms lift. Exhale, down we go again. Forward fold, Uttanasana. Let's come up halfway, moving the chest forward. And then on the way down, step the right leg back, setting up for lunge with the hands down. I'll recommend hands on the blocks here. And without going anywhere, try to pull them back. And as we inhale, move the chest forward. Find that little lift here right at the very top. And then on the exhale, just kind of relax a little. Do that a few times. So the inhale, we find that little pull back with the arms, pull forward through the chest, and then relax. One more time here. Yep. Now let's stay in this long position through the spine. Take the left hand and place it on the outside of the thigh, just kind of a little above the knee. Press the thigh and the hand into each other so the thigh presses outward. That's it. If this is feeling fine and you'd like to add on, stretch the right arm straight back alongside you. If that's a no-go, just keep the right hand down where it is. If you're still with me, slice the right arm out on the diagonal. Left leg is still pressing into the arm. Yeah, nice job. Down we come. Let's release the back knee down, blanket if you need it. Take a couple times here just to go back and forth to bend and straighten the front leg. It's a little relief after the lunge. Great. Now, let's keep going with this and add on what we were doing before. So when we come forward, find that little lift at the upper chest at the very end of the movement, and then you'll let that go on the way back. If you're finding that's not possible, it might be useful to go higher in your hands or even onto the fingertips. So find that nice little lift at the very end. Yeah. Great. All right, so let's pause here. The next time we shift forward, pivot the back foot slightly to the left, and let's come up here with the left forearm to the left thigh, right hand to the right hip. So if you know side angle pose, it's kind of like that with the knee down. Stay in the position, and then on the left side, very gently press arm and leg into each other. Can you turn the rib cage away from the floor? And take the back arm, you can either stretch it back, you can take it straight back or overhead, wherever it wants to be is fine. Yeah. Alrighty, let's come out of this, reset yourself, tuck the back toes under, lift the knee. If you are still on blocks, let's move them out of the way and just go straight into downward facing dog pose. From down dog. I'm going to take a little side to side wobble. Feel free to join me there or take anything else that you would prefer. Whenever you're ready here, let's meet at the front of the mat, feet to the hands. And we'll take a few of those half lifts. So let's start with the knees bent, hands to the tops of the shins. Inhale, we lengthen the legs, pull the chest forward, shoulder blades down the back. Exhale, we rebend and come down. A couple more, just like that. Yes, friends. And then here we go. Next time we come down, let's step the left leg back, coming into our lunge pose. Same thing we did before, just now we're on the second side. And without moving your hands, on the inhale, try to pull the arms back, pull the chest forward, we lengthen. And then on the exhale, just back off a little bit. Take that a few more times. So really moving with the breath. It's a small movement. Good. And then the next time we're in that lengthened state, let's step. Take your right hand to the outside of the thigh and press leg and hand into each other. Exactly. Now, if you're up for it, take the left arm and reach it back. If that's a no-go, just keep it down. And then if you're still up for it, take the left arm and reach it out, little slice on the diagonal. Yeah, so instead of holding the leg here, press the leg out. So the hand and, yeah, exactly. Exactly. Nice job, guys. Down we come. 2 hands down, back, knee to the floor. Take a few times here to go back and forth, whatever pace is yours. And now continue doing this, and at the end of that forward movement, find that nice lift up right through here, and then you'll let it go on the way back. And if that's not possible, go higher in the hands or go onto the fingertips. Good. All right, then from here, let's pause. Scooch the back foot a little bit to the right side of the mat, and then bring the right forearm up to the right thigh, and we'll come into this side angle variation. Right leg forward, so same side still. Left leg back, and then from here, can you lengthen the right side of the waist? On the right side, very gently press arm and leg into each other. Take the left arm, and it can go back, it can go out to the side, it can come overhead, whatever you prefer. All right, and from there, let's undo. Release the pose, tuck the back toes under. We're heading into downward facing dog. That's it. Now, option here, you could stay in down dog for a little bit. You could go back to child's pose for a little bit. If you wanted some more activity, you could do this. Inhale forward, plank, and then exhale up and back, dog. So options aplenty. Take a few rounds of breath, just whatever you'd like to do. Yeah. And then from here, let's meet the next time we're in downward facing dog. You choose either feet to the hands or hands to the feet, meeting and standing forward fold. We'll bend the knees a little, press the weight into the heels, we're coming all the way up to standing. Inhale to rise. Exhale. The arms release. Yeah, great. Let's stay here and just do a few shoulder rolls. Good. And then as that's going, let the knees bend and let the spine kind of participate in the shoulder rolls. Yes. And then we'll take another one of those big twists, but slightly different this time. So have your feet a bit wider than you normally stand. Right arm will slice out and up, but instead of looking up towards the arm, can you look down towards the floor? That's it. And then we'll undo. Other side takes a little slice. You can lift the heel and then turn to look down towards the floor. Yeah, let's do that one. One more on each side. So slice and a turn. And a slice and a turn. Great. Arms release down or back in the center. And then we'll somewhat repeat what we did before, but we'll add on to it, coming into warrior two, side angle, maybe triangle as well. Yeah? So at the front of the mat here, find your stance. That could be together, a little apart, or a bit wider if you prefer. Yep. Just be, yeah, right at the front of the mat. Blocks if you need them. Yeah. All right. And then from your position here, let's slightly bend the knees, just like we've been doing. Shift the weight more toward your heels and keep the weight in the heels. As we inhale, we rise. And then we exhale and fold. Little bend through the knees on the way down. Come up halfway. Inhale is a lengthen. And then on the exhale, right leg will step back, coming into our lunge pose. Yep, a lunge pose. Other leg. Well, actually, you can stay there if you want, so you face me. Yeah, move the chest forward, draw the shoulder blades down the back, and then we'll turn the back heel down to the floor, coming up into warrior two. Yeah, so actually, you can look at the mirror, you can see us there. Exactly. Now, in your warrior two, let's add some dynamic movement like we did in the other poses. Turn the palms up. Inhale, we rise, lifting the arms. Exhale, we'll re-bend, stretching the arms apart, bending the front knee. Take that a few more times. So the inhale is an up, the exhale is a down. And one more time, we come up. And one more time, we come down. Now from here, we'll change our movement a little bit. Hands come to the hips. Inhale, we come up. And now on the exhale, we'll come down, but add in a little tilt in the pelvis so that we deepen the left hip crease. Yeah, coming up again, inhale to rise. And exhale, return to that bent knee, deep hip crease position. Come up again. And then let's come again, and remember in the very beginning when we did that forward fold, see if you can keep the muscles right around the hip crease soft. Yeah, let's take the right arm, stretch it out on the diagonal. I meant the left arm, the bottom arm. Yeah, that's it. And then remember when we had the hand on the outside of the thigh? Let's do that here. So take the hand on the outside of the thigh, press hand and thigh into each other. Turn the chest away from the floor, stretch the right arm back, press into the right heel, and now let's slice the right arm down and out on the diagonal. One more time, can you rotate the torso away from the floor? Continue on the front leg to press arm and leg. Yeah! All right, let's come up to stand. Just be where you are. Keep the leg position that you've got. Yeah, nice. And then look forward for a second. Bend the front knee, but just a little bit. And notice if you trace the line of the thigh and the kneecap, for most of us, it angles ever so slightly in. And then if we trace the line of the shin and the toes, that'll most likely point forward. So they crisscross a little bit. We're going to counter that in a second. So let's deepen the hip crease like we just did in the side angle. Take the left hand to the front of the shin and press hand and shin into each other. Keep that and keep the resistance. So as the leg starts to go straighter, continue to push the shin into the hand. And then if you look at the line of the knee and the thigh, it might have sorted itself out. And it's fine if the leg doesn't go all the way straight in this position. Stay here, and on the back leg, push down through the heel and push the heel towards the back edge of the mat. That's it. So legs are very strong, very active. Keep what's going on the front leg. Stretch the left arm out for a second. And then take it down to a new spot or on a block. And can you turn the chest away from the floor? Let's lift the right arm. So here we are in triangle pose, but the legs are super duper active here, aren't they? Yeah. Good. And then to get out, let's look at the floor. Bend the front knee, spin the back heel up. Take another round of this with the back knee down. Few back and forth we go. Every time you come forward, find that little lift up through the chest. Yeah. I'm purposely taking some of these poses a little slower so we can work on some of those small details. All right. From here, let's pause. Tuck the back toes under, lift the knee and the thigh. Let's go plank pose to the belly. Or, of course, if you're doing the child's pose version, that's fine too. So once you're down, yeah. So up to you if you're on the belly or not. Take the arms back with the backs of the hands to the floor. And can you lift the front of the shoulders away from the floor so the upper back engages? So think of the shoulder blades moving towards each other onto the back. And then on the next inhale, let's lift up a little bit. Turn the palms of the hands towards your legs. On the exhale, we lower down. So take that a few times. Inhale, the collarbones broaden. Still on the inhale, we find the lift. And then on the exhale, lower everything back down. Taking that a few more times at your own pace. That's it. And then the next time we come up, let's reset the arms. Take them forward to come down. We'll head into downward facing dog pose. Yeah, that's it. And then let's meet at the front of the mat. So feet to the hands. Once you're in position, just the halfway lift to transition. Yeah, so we come forward, halfway lift. And then let's lower ourselves down. Take the left leg back, setting up for the lunge on the second side. This is the same sequence, other side. Yeah. Carol, yeah, exactly. Can you make more space? And then from here, draw back through the pelvis, forward through the chest. Find length first. And then we'll spin the back heel down to the floor. Up we come into warrior two. And let's take our dynamic movement here. So palms up, inhale to rise. And then on the exhale, take yourself back down. Do that a few more times. Press into the right heel as we rise up. And then let that pressure back off a little bit on the descent. Yeah. Good. So we'll pause here the next time we come down. Reset, hands to the top of the pelvis. We'll come up like we did before, but this time on the way down, let's find that tilt, that little hinge. And then bring yourself up like we did, and coming down with a bend. That's exactly right. Take a couple more times. And then the next time we come, let's stay. Keep the hip crease nice and soft as we find that hinge. Right hand will come to the outside of the thigh. Press thigh and hand into each other. On the back leg, press down and out through the heel. Can you make your torso longer? And then let's take the left arm, little half slice down and out. Oh, yeah, keeping everything the same. Can you turn the torso, the rib cage away from the floor without letting the front knee collapse in? So keep the hand, the thigh pressing into the hand. Let's come up to stand. Be here for a sec. That's it. Hands to the hips again. Bend the front knee, but just a little this time, and just track the line of the thigh and the knee versus the line of the shin. That's it. Let's find our little tilt. Hand right at the top of the shin, and then press. Shin into hand into shin. Create the resistance, and keep the shin pressing into the hand, even as the leg starts to go straighter. Let's keep that, and then on the back leg, press down and out through the heel. Yeah. And then from here, let's let go of the leg, but keep the idea. It's okay if it's slightly bent. Stretch the right arm out. Take the hand down on either the shin to a new spot or to your block. Can you turn the torso away from the floor? Up comes the left arm. Trikonasana pose. Legs are very active in this version of the position. You got it, friends. We're coming out. Let's look down. Bend the front knee. Release the arms. Turn the back heel up, back knee to the floor. And take a couple rounds of this one again. Yeah. So every time we come forward, we find that little lift at the very end of the movement. And every time we come back, we let that go. Great. Let's pause here next time we come forward. Tuck the back toes under, lift the back knee. Move the blocks out of the way if you had them. And we'll head again, plank pose. You could stay here a while if you want. You could go to down dog, stay there a little if you want. Child's pose is another choice, or you could go back and forth, dog, plank, dog. So take a few breaths of whatever you'd like. Yeah, and then when you're ready to come back up to stand, let's go through down dog just as a transition point. Yeah, from your dog, either walking the hands to the feet or the feet to the hands. Press into the heels to come up. Inhale, we grow tall. And then on the exhale, the arms come back down. Yeah, great. So let's take another standing twist variation, a little different than before. Having the feet slightly wider than hips width, just kind of finding some softness there. And this time we'll just rotate to your right. Just notice how far you go, how that feels. You might feel a little shift in the feet. And then we'll unwind, and same thing going to the left. Let's take it one more time, each direction. Yeah. And then we'll return back to center. Nice job, everybody. So we'll come down, we'll take a little detour, a little kind of calf roll, calf mash, and then we'll come up again and do some more standing poses. So let's head down to the floor. I like blocks for this one. If your blocks are really hard, or for whatever reason, if you don't like it, you could use a blanket roll instead. It's a little softer. So the right leg will go up on the block, and we're pretty far down, like close to the ankle, but not all the way there. And then a little more is to cross the left leg over. If that's too much pressure, just forget about it, yeah? So we'll take a little side to side. Another option here, if you want less pressure, instead of being on the hands, you could be on the elbows. That's an option too, yeah. So just a little wiggle, side to side, getting into the lower calf fibers, yeah. And then let's pause and start to move the bottom ankle around a little bit. So the right one. Yeah. And let's pause here and readjust the blocks. You can either pull the block a little forward or scooch the body a little down. So it's right kind of in the middle, right in the fleshy bit. Yeah. And then same thing with or without left one crossed over. A little bit of little wobble here. Yeah. And then let's move the foot around. Same foot still, it's the right one. Yep. And then our last little spot here, it's not right behind the knee, it's slightly lower than that. And crisscross. Away we go. We've got these nice soft blocks. This is good for this one. Sometimes the harder ones are less pleasant. Yeah. And then we'll pause there and again just give the foot a little stir, circle. Yeah. And then we'll release that. Before we do the second side, let's just circle out the hands a little bit. So you'll come off, the hands a little bit of movement. Yeah. And then before we swap sides, just sit in Dandasana or something like it. Press down through the hands, reach forward through the heels. Just sense if the two legs feel any different from that little rolly. Good, let's do the other side. So take the block, and at first it goes pretty low down, closer to the ankle. And the right one can cross over, back and forth we go. This side's maybe different, for me at least. And then let's move the foot any which way, the bottom foot, left one. Yeah, and then we'll pause and find a second spot. So just about right in the middle should be good. And we cross over, little wobbles. Every time I do this, I think I need to do this more often. And then here too, we'll pause and move the ankle. Great. All right, so last spot, just below the pit of the knee. again, side to side we go. You can add in the movement of the left foot. Anything at all is good. Yeah. Awesome. And then let's release that, just coming off, taking the block to the side. Just sit for a second and move the wrists around. If you're propped on the hands, sometimes the hands get a little tired. Good. Yeah. So next we'll take a quad stretch, and I'll suggest doing this on the belly. If that's not what you want to do, you can join me instead and go on the side. So it'll look like this. Otherwise, you can be on the belly. And just pick a leg, any leg. If you can't reach the foot, of course, you can use a prop, a strap, or something. Stay in your position and see if you can reach the knee away from you, but at the same time, draw the navel forward towards your face. Yeah. When you're ready to change sides, shout. Just do the other side. Oh, my left one's always tighter. Same thing here. Try to reach the knee away from you and the navel towards you. Yeah. All right. And then when you're done with those, you can stay in the belly and just wiggle a little bit. Just take a little kind of wobble from side to side. Yeah. And then from here, friends, let's press back and up into downward facing dog pose. Take your time to find the shape. And see if it's any different now that we've done that little work on the calves. And the quads too, actually. Let's meet in standing forward fold. You can root down here to rise up. Inhale, we grow. And then release the arms. Okay. Nice work. So next we'll take a variation of Warrior One and Parshvottanasana. I'll suggest blocks at the front of the mat. And we'll stand here at the front, hands just right at the top of the pelvis. Let's reach the right leg back with the heel down to the floor. That's it. Now, see what happens when you press the heel firmly down into the floor. Yeah, and we want to find that little reverb effect so the rest of the body lifts. Let's take the arms up. Remember we did this in the beginning. Hook your thumbs, that little butterfly hook. Pull up as you press down through the back heel and see if you can just lengthen yourself that much more. And then from here, we'll separate the thumbs, bend the front knee, hinge forward, bend the elbows like you're looking over a ledge. And then on the inhale, let's rise again, arms to the ceiling. Take that 2 more times. Exhale, we hinge forward, engage the upper back on the way down. Inhale, we rise. And then again, we'll hinge forward. Let's stay. Release the hands onto something, the floor or the blocks, or a piece of furniture here. And now we're still pressing into the right heel. Let's also press into the left heel and try to press it forward as the leg lengthens. The left hip draws back. Notice there's kind of a tendency to hang in the arms. Can you pull back through the hands without moving them and move the chest forward here? Come into that kind of flat back position. Yeah. Let's take a sweet breath in. And then on the exhale, if it feels all right to let yourself fold over and drape over the leg, you can. If that doesn't float your boat, you can stay in this position and just do kind of that half lift, that little pull, and then back off somewhat. Yeah, so a couple more breaths in whatever shape you've chosen. Great. And then from here, friends, if you came all the way down, let's resume that halfway position. Moving the chest forward, bend the front knee a little bit. Just step the back foot forward, root down through the heels. Use the inhale to lift. That's it. And then the arms release down. Oh. All right, same thing, side 2. So hands to the hips. Let's step the left leg back with the heel on the floor. And don't just have it there, but actually press it down into the floor. Let's find our little butterfly thumb hook. Pull up and use that up to help Draw the rib cage away from the pelvis, and the heel continues to press down on the back leg. Yeah, let's separate the hands. Inhale. Exhale, we bend the front knee, hinge the chest forward, engage the upper back on this little hinge. Inhale, we resume the up position. Taking that 2 more times. Exhale, we hinge. Inhale, we lift. Exhale, we hinge, stay. Let's release the arms down. And then from your position here, press down and forward through the right leg as you draw the right hip back. Yeah. Then just like we did in the other one, don't go anywhere but try to pull the arms back as the chest draws forward, moving the shoulder blades down the back. Let's take a breath in here. On the exhale, if you wish, you can drape and fold over the leg. If that's not a great choice, you'll stand halfway. Every inhale, you find the leg. And then every exhale, you just back off a bit. Yeah, so whatever you're doing, a couple more breaths. Good. Now, if you did come all the way down, let's reset into the halfway position. Chest moves forward. Little bend through the front knee. Step the back foot forward, root down to rise up. Inhale, we come out of the pose. And exhale, the arms come back down. Yeah, great. Just wiggle it out a little bit. Okay. So next we'll take a balanced pose and we'll add in some additional movement. So, and what's going on in the legs is, I'll just kind of leave that up to you. So a few choices. If balance is a little iffy, you could just go up onto the right toes or turn the right leg out a little bit. If balance is feeling a little better, you can hold on here, you can do tree pose, really anything at all. Yeah? Now in your position, go ahead and find the one you want. And on the standing leg, you'll press down pretty firmly through the heel. Yeah, great. And then from your position here, see if you can keep that pressing down through the heel, but let there be some lightness through the upper body. You might even just let the arms wiggle a little bit. Maybe they come up high, maybe they don't. So we want to stay nice and firm and grounded down below. And nice and light and lifted, maybe a little bit of movement up above. Yeah, now, yeah, again, if that's no good, you could hold on to the leg, you could keep a toe on the floor. Great. When you're ready to be done, let's release the pose, coming out completely. Yeah, all right. Same thing on side 2. So I'm just going to demonstrate a different position. For some of you, this one might be better than the other. So come on into whatever it is you're doing. Doesn't matter what. And then on the standing foot, that'll be your right foot, you'll press down firmly. Yeah, that's it. See if you can stay nice and solid, nice and stable down below. And then whatever else you want to do in the upper body. See if you can just find a little bit of lightness, maybe a little bit of movement. Yeah. Good. And then when you're ready to come out, let's release the pose, 2 feet on the floor. Just take a moment, take a breath. And then just as a counter pose, take the feet medium wide, not too wide, just a little bit, and rotate so the toes turn a little in, the heels turn a little out. Yeah, go a little more. And then we'll bend the knees, bring the hips back, and rest the forearms to the thighs in this position. Now adding on just a few little actions here. At the tops of the thighs, press back and press apart. And then we'll counter that by rooting down through the inner foot, the ball of the big toe, inner heel. Yeah. That's it. Yogis, to get out, let's reset so the heels are right behind the toes. Press into the floor with the heels. Grow yourself tall and long. Yeah. And then the arms release down. Nice work. Let's come to have a seat. We'll do a seated version of our figure 4 pose. Now, for whatever reason, if you'd rather do it laying on your back, that's fine too. So I'll demonstrate this variation. We'll kind of lean back a little bit. Right ankle will cross over the left thigh. And then let's press into the floor to sit up tall. Yeah. Great. Now, if you're feeling like you'd like more stretch in the outer hip, you can lift the pelvis slightly and scooch it a bit forward and then come down. But watch out for this kind of slouch back position. You don't want that to happen. Yeah. See if you can find that little smile through the collarbones. And maybe add in a bit of movement here from side to side if that feels good to you. Yeah. And then let's release the pose. Taking the leg out. Stretch the legs long for a second. Just give yourself a little wobble. And we'll circle out the hands a little bit as well. After being on the hands. Yeah. Good. And then for side 2, let's lean back a little bit. Left ankle crosses over the right thigh. Press down to lift up. Broaden the collarbones. Perhaps you add in that little scooch of the hips forward. Perhaps you don't. That's up to you. Okay. And then from here, friends, let's undo, reset the legs. One more time, add in that little jiggle them out. And then we'll circle out the hands, move the fingers, whatever you'd like to do there. And we'll take it now down to the floor. So come on down. Let's have the knees bent, the feet on the floor. And then this one for the psoas, scoop the right foot so it goes in between the left buttock and the left foot. Yep. And then you'll pick up the left leg and bring it in towards you. Now, for anybody, if this is feeling like too much, there's a few options. You could put a block under the thigh. You could put a block under the left foot, or you could just not lift the left leg. So those are all fine choices here. And from here, let's undo and undo. And we'll reset. So the left one slides underneath. And from here, we'll bring the right knee in. You can hold on or take any of the variations with the props if you need to do that. When you're ready to exit here, right leg comes down, left leg resets. Before we hit Shavasana, let's take the hands to the thighs and just press straight forward, hands into the legs. Yeah, just a little press. And then we'll let that go and head into Shavasana, our final resting pose. Of course, feel free to set this up, customize it however feels good to you. Yeah, and I'm gonna mute the Zoom meeting while we're in Shavasana just because there's some noise going on. I don't want you to get distracted by that. Allow your breath to deepen. Start to create any kind of movement here, whatever feels good to you. Eventually you can bend up the knees, roll to one side. Take your time to head back up to sitting. No rush. Meet with hands at heart center. The light in me honors the light in you. Namaste.